Hello and welcome. This is Ashley from Paper Tokens. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'll be sharing a quick Valentine's Day card featuring Simon Says stamp products and some ink blending. The two stamp sets I'll be using is Love and Love Is background stamp. To start, I have a 110-pound cardstock panel that's about A2 size. I'm using my anti-static powder tool to prep my panel for heat embossing. I've placed the Love Is background into my Misty stamping tool and used Versamark ink to ink it up. I just re-inked my pad, and so it's nice and juicy, so I only had to ink it once. I'm now taking red embossing powder to coat it and then using a coffee filter to help catch the remaining. As you can see, there's a small part that I've missed in inking the panel, but I'm not too worried. I'm using my heat tool to finish the heat embossing. Next, I'm going to heat emboss the large scripty sentiment Love on a scrap cardstock piece in a similar fashion. So I'm prepping the cardstock panel, put my love sentiment down, use my Versamark ink, and now I'm using black embossing powder to really make it pop. However, black embossing powder is notorious for leaving stray powder, even if you've used an anti-static powder tool, so that's why you'll see me using a small paintbrush to brush away any excess powder. I've used my heat tool again, and off screen I've die cut it with the coordinating die through my Big Shot machine. Next, I'll be ink blending onto Simon Says Stamp Heavyweight Vellum, which is also cut into an A2 sized panel. First, I started blending Tim Holtz Distress ink in Picked Raspberry. As you can see, I'll have to be careful of my fingers messing up my blending, and you might see some fingerprints. So that's why I have to go back and forth to make sure that my blending smooths out. I'm also using a scrap piece of paper to help handle not only the vellum, but then also just hold down the panel while I'm blending. Some people make ink blending look so easy, but for me, it takes a lot of circular motion to do it. I could have left the vellum panel as is, but then I decided I wanted to do an ombre effect. So I pulled out my candied apple and did some more ink blending towards the bottom. I think that's when I started having a heavy hand, and you can see that I've slightly creased my vellum. So now I'm going to clean off my work surface so I can continue working on it. Off screen, I blasted it real quickly with my heat tool and went to find some adhesive. Real talk, initially I tried glue dots, but I warped the vellum when I was heat setting it. So I needed something stronger for the vellum to adhere to my background panel. I ended up using my Tombow adhesive runner, and now I'm just smoothing it out. It doesn't lay completely flat the way I wanted it to, but it works. I used foam tape to mount my love sentiment. Don't you love how it pops? Hindsight, I could have stamped the next sentiment prior to mounting the love die cut, but I honestly didn't think of it. I used Memento Tuxedo Black ink, by the way. Well, here's that fork in the road I always run into. Embellishments or let it go. I sat there for a while thinking about it, and I went and got my Nuvo crystal drops in autumn red and pale gold to add some detailing. After finishing this card this morning, honestly, I didn't know how I felt about this card. Does that ever happen to you? I guess even if I don't end up giving it to anyone, it was still really fun to put together, and it gave me a better sense of what to do for next time, especially with the vellum warping and maybe the ink blending. If you liked my video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my projects, subscribe to my channel and come find me on the other social media platforms. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye!